Here we are.
Okay, Peter, I am getting the word from the control room. We're hot. We are go for launch, buddy. So let's make this official. Here we are, December 3rd. Tis the season to be merry, and I am Mike, aka Munster Rc. And I am coming to you live from the doghouse tonight on this Saturday night. It's an exciting one. You have stumbled across the Rad Show. And if you are now asking yourself what RC is, this show is not for you. This is a couple of RC addicted dads bringing you the world of RC through our lens, how we see it, giving you the lighter side, the latest, the greatest, the hottest of the week. And we got some big stuff going on right now. We're ending the year on a bang, and we're bringing in the new year. 2023 is looking exciting. But again, this is a duo. This is a two-man show, like a wrestling tag team. And I am here with my man, the co-host with the mostest, my ride or die. Peter, how are you, sir?
Hey man, what's going on? Good to be back on a Saturday night. Busy week, man. We, been working and grinding this week, you and I. A lot of good things going on. Looking at the chat, somebody mentioned a new logo. That was a big drop this week. Good work on that, Mike. The logo looks great. We got Size Matters. We got Robert, Tyler, Jeff, our boy Tim, and Matt Thompson. Thanks, guys, for joining in. Yeah, we dropped a new logo, and I don't know if anybody saw my post today. We got a special little truck that we're gonna take a look at in a little bit. We got it after the Michigan, but it's been out for a while. But it's a cool little truck, and we almost approached 300 followers, Mike. So we're getting close to that 500 mark to give that FMS away. Definitely excited about that. Once we give that FMS away, we have other giveaways. So we want to get the FMS out, shipped to a lucky person. So like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Once we hit that 500 mark, giving away a truck, man. It's a very easy contest. And like always, we like to thank our sponsors, people that Mike and I work with throughout the week: Carryallrc, Treal Hobby, CowRc, Rebel RC, Crazy Crawler Foams, Powerhobby, 2.4 Designs, Crawler Cult RC, RC Misfits, Scale Rat, KNK Hradware, Venture RC, Wesmade RC, Prorack, FMS Race Place Hobbies, Remote Control Hobbies. Our buddy, he's out of jail, Mike. He's back. RC Jesus, Remote Control Hobbies. And our buddy, Real Sticky, working on all our merchandise and logos. And thank you guys for working with the Rad Show. And yeah, Mike, it's been a busy week. There's parts dropping everywhere still, trucks dropping. I mean, it's an ever-lending year of the micro, man. We're closing out the year. I said no more micros. I think I got about 14. I got micros everywhere. You saw my video before. I mean, I don't even know what to do with the trucks anymore. I mean, so yeah, good stuff, man. A lot of nice trucks out, and happy about our guest. I mean, our guest tonight, I've seen his work firsthand, USTE. I mean, anybody that knows custom fab work, this guy's got some talent, man. So I'm excited to talk to this guest tonight.
Absolutely, Pete. Yeah, the guest is definitely exciting. One of the good guys, long history in the hobby. I can't wait to hear his story, give him a platform to talk about what he's been doing. But you came out here guns blazing, Pete, and you didn't hold back. We jumped right out here with this logo. And the full disclosure on that logo, when we came out with the original logo, we had someone help us do an original design. And please know that our original logo was from the heart. It was a tribute, and we were not hiding it at all. It was a true nod to the Rad BMX movie. Okay. Like, we weren't hiding it. Unfortunately, like every good thing in life, it's copyrighted, trademarked, and everything else. So what we discovered, it's easier that we just simply don't ruffle feathers. We're not making waves. Why not just fix it? We'll just change it and make it our own. So yeah, same two ugly mugs here, but it's just a new logo on the back end. But we'll get the new scale banners done. We'll get some new apparel done. But again, I just thought it was appropriate, Pete, that we do say it was out of mutual respect and love for the Rad BMX movie. And probably, like a wise man just told me, if we would have done that logo maybe 5 years ago, nobody would have said a word. Unfortunately, the timing is everything, and there is definitely a resurgence on the Rad BMX movie. It must be coming up on an anniversary, and not the right time to be stepping on anyone's toes. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and the new logo is clean. It's going to look good on merchandise, and I can't wait to see what it looks like on a scale banner. I mean, it's going to really pop, the one with the background. So good work on that. I mean, you cranked that out pretty fast. I mean, it looks great. Yeah, and like we say each week, definitely take a look at the Facebook page and Instagram. Post all updates, discount links, and yeah. So that was one thing we worked on this week, amongst a lot of other things.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a busy week. And I think, Peter, why it made it so busy this week, it's at the end of the year. It's dotting I's, crossing T's, cleaning things up, everything that all these irons that we put in the fire throughout the year, throwing irons in the fire, it's all coming to a head all at once. All these things are just happening right now, which is exciting, and it all does make sense. Getting ready to start 2023, it's crunch time. We'll have plenty more to talk about as the weeks to come, as we get ready to wrap up this year, and we get ready to. I'm excited to do the big group end of the year kind of thing. Probably be right. So we haven't had a chance to really talk about this behind the scenes, but I'm thinking that last weekend of the year, I know it looks like the Rad Show was supposed to run on New Year's Eve. I don't think it's going to be appropriate if we want to all stay married and keep ourselves out of divorce court. I think we should probably maybe do a Friday night special
and
or something.
Christmas Eve is on a Saturday.
Roger that. Yeah, good call. Yeah, we got to keep an eye on this. Either we're going to start recording them and posting them up at the 8 o'clock time spot, or they're just not going to. If they're going to stay live, we'll just have to move it a different day. But listen, the most important thing is that you and I are having a blast in the RC world and doing this show. We wouldn't be coming back here week after week, standing here grinding all week long on this show if we weren't having fun. And that's what it's what kills me, how much fun we're having with this. So I thank everyone for tuning in live. And I know so many people reach out during the week that catch up throughout the week. They'll let it play while they're at work or while they're driving. You can just let it run sort of like a podcast. Kilburn and I were laughing earlier. It would probably be easier on the eyes if we just were a podcast, but unfortunately, you get to stare at us for an hour.
Well, it's funny. You were saying towards the end of the year. So this is a true story. Last week, I'm delivering a package. Right now, anybody that orders from A Main Horizon, usually they do a direct signature, meaning that the person has to sign for the package. So I pull up to this house, 3 boxes. Huge boxes. I see on the outside it says Horizon Hobby. I'm like,
no
oh,
way.
I'm like, here we go. So the kid comes out. I said, what's in the box? RC. He goes, how did you know? I said, it's going to be a long stop here. And I said, what did you get? He goes, oh, I bought this Axial, my first RC. And he goes, how did you know? I said, well, usually A Main and they all direct signatures. And he's like, man, he goes, are you into RC? I said, how much time do you have?
Sit down, kid.
So I thought that was funny. But yeah, I mean, the volume's cranking. I mean, it's long hours and people, there's great sales out there, and like every week we say, support your local hobby shops. And I know there's a lot of comments. RC Jesus said, "Did he miss something?" We were just welcoming you back, Nick. I saw your post earlier, so that's what we were saying earlier.
Was he really in Facebook jail again?
Well, that's what the post was this morning. No, he just asked that I missed something. So we
Oh.
were welcoming you back when we announced your business. So welcome back.
Social media is not the same when RC Jesus is in jail. So
yeah, I missed him. I missed him. I said, where did he go? He dropped off. You know,
when he's in
saw his name.
When he's in jail, the whole social media platform changes. It gets boring. So we all get when he's in jail, we all get punished.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, so a lot going on, coming, lots of sales out there. I was looking at the stores today. Some people extended Black Friday. I mean, there's trucks out there dirt cheap. I mean, I was looking at Horizon Hobby. They're like extending their sales, $100 off here. I mean, there's a lot of sales, local hobby shops. A lot of stuff is just, support your local hobby shops.
I mean, I'm not a local hobby shop owner. I can only imagine what RC Jesus and some of these other hobby shops deal with when they see some of the pricing on this stuff. It's coming in under their authorized, under their cost. These trucks are being sold cheaper than their cost.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about putting people in a pickle. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can get the Firestorm. I mean, there's all these trucks that are so discounted. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I always say, check your local hobby shop before you go out.
Yeah, and we're busting at the seams. I got 3 trucks yesterday. I got the Night Runner to deal with yet. I still got, the FMS. The Michigan's got to keep us busy for a long time. I can't wait to open up this Smasher. We'll wait till after Blake's done, and we'll start cranking on the Smasher.
And then what's funny about the Smasher. So I know we're like a little late to the game. We got trucks ahead that we should have got before, but watching people's posts about the Smasher. I mean, one of the first people I see that did mods was Sean Russin from CowRc.
Yeah,
he tricked his Smasher out, and then I saw Tyler did some work to his, and it looks like a cool truck, man. I really hope it delivers when we open this box. I mean, compared to the hype that it can be a fun truck to mess around with. I mean, I know we said no more micros, but probably up to 13 now. But
oh man,
yeah. So
I'm busting at the seams, dude. They're trucks on top of trucks, and you're not getting anything for them selling them right now. It does not make sense to sell.
Well, there's people. I'm looking today. There's people selling trucks for $1,000, $800, $700.
Now wait,
same trucks there 3 weeks later. I mean,
okay, they're listing it for that price, but there's no way they're moving right now.
No, this products they're not moving.
People are selling their stuff dirt cheap. I mean, it's a buyer's paradise right now. Well, listen, let's keep this show moving on a rapid pace and try and stick to a timeline and keep it professional. We got people joining us. We got people watching throughout the week, so we're going to keep it entertaining, exciting. Peter, I'm hoping that you got your trigger finger ready. As Blake is talking, maybe bounce over to his Facebook page. We might be able to pull up a couple of samples for him. I know recently from him being out at Desmond Mooney's place, he was debuting one of his more recent things. So I'm hoping that we can use this platform to kind of show the people exactly what he's talking about. I'm hoping he has a couple of demos for us and maybe give us a little peek behind the scenes of what he actually does. But Peter, I said, let's do it. Let's bring on the man.
All right.
Did you see my post I did earlier? I really got creative with the wording. I was like, we're mashing things up tonight. We are bringing on the man known as Metal Smasher, and we are going to be unboxing our Max Masher. And I had it all reversed. I was like, man, I cracked myself up. So look it. Here he is. Blake, my man. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. It is so freaking good to see you, buddy. And I am terribly saddened that I did miss you at the annual backyard bash at Dez's house. So I'm terribly sad that I did miss that. I always look forward to an opportunity to see what you're working on and what you're doing. And that's when Peter and I were chatting. We're like, you know what? I think Blake needs an actual platform to come on here and talk and tell us his story a little bit. Because when people look at your stuff, they might not completely appreciate and understand exactly what they're looking at. And once you realize how much hand, hammer and hand is in these builds, I think you can really step back and appreciate it. I know you've won plenty of medals out at USTE and people appreciate it, but I'm hoping to tap a market here for you. Maybe some of these new people that I deal with all week long that are just coming to the hobby really understand what the Metalmasher is doing. So, Peter, what do you think? Let's give Blake an opportunity to introduce yourself and kind of give us a little backstory, how long you've been in the hobby, how you got on this journey, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. My name is Blake Lavelsberger. Yes, it is German last name, and I think the little bit of German I have in me is what kind of moves this along. And my grandfather was, his last name was not Lavelsberger, it was actually Leister, oddly enough, and that's my middle name. But he was really big into doing tin work and doing, he was a, not pipe fitter, I'm trying to think of the name. He did HVAC as a profession. And but on his, for fun, he would make ornaments and he would do things like that out of actual, tin. And when I was younger, getting into this kind of thing, I remember going along with him on jobs and stuff like that, and seeing how that all kind of worked and stuff. And but what got me into the hobby, if you want to go back to that, is really just the RC in general. I mean, this is not the actual truck car, but a lot of us got into it with the old Tamiya cars, whether it was a Hornet or a Blackfoot. I've got a. This is actually this is an original Frog converted into a Blackfoot, but I do have a Blackfoot. I do have some other stuff. That's really what got me into the hobby.
Blake, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to know, is that your original Tamiyas from when you were a kid?
So the Hornet, no, it's the re-release.
Okay.
It's paint job and everything. But the Blackfoot that I have is the parts from mine, but not the actual chassis. So
okay.
This would the bulkheads and all that stuff, they are my original one from 1985, 6, something like that. The chassis broke in half, and then I acquired a Frog at some point in time and swapped chassis. That's why it's gray. So you always know the difference between a Blackfoot and a Hornet, or Blackfoot and a Frog. There's a Blackfoot. It's got a red chassis, and that's a Frog. Frog's got gray chassis. So this one is an original one. It's not a re-release, but I didn't have this as a kid. I bought this on, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
But I do have some of the stuff that I started off as a kid, not everything. There was a time, I don't know, about 5, 6 years ago, I went through some personal issues, and so I got rid of a lot of stuff, but I kept some of the basics, the cars that kind of kept me in the hobby and got me started. I kept some of those. So as moving forward, when I was younger, I started getting into creating foil cars. And when I call foil cars, I'm talking about like household aluminum foil, stuff you use for cooking. And they were ones that I would take a matchbox and then I would mold the matchbox, smash it up, squish it. There was a kit that I had that was called the Clyde's Car Crusher Set. And it was a toy that came out in the late 70s, early 80s. My parents got it for me for Christmas. And that's what got me into the aspect of using aluminum foil to make copies of a car so that I can smash it. I was absolutely obsessed with the realism of smashing things. I mean, obviously in my name. So, and real quick, I have some examples. I wanted to grab these and I forgot to have them set at 10. So this is an entire box These quite literally are the cars that I built when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and they are
Wow.
copies. They're just matchboxes of random matchboxes. You can probably tell that's a Cobra, Volkswagen. It's and then that's what I would do. I would take them, I would make them and smash them and have some fun. And I kept them. I kept every single one that I ever did.
Wow.
And then from there, I moved up to model cars. So I would take the 125th scale model cars, I would form those, and then I would smash them. They got a little more intricate, more detailed, and they were the ones that kind of really jumped from just something real quick and smash it and moves on to spending time making a realistic looking model that I could smash. Probably around the early, so now you're talking early 90s, when I was in high school ish. That's when I started dabbling into actually making metal bodies for RC cars. And that started off with, I worked at Hardee's, and Hardee's had these pie pans they would use their biscuits on. And we had stacks and stacks of them, and we'd just throw them in the dumpster. And so I started talking to the manager and said, can I use those? Can I scrap them? They said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I was taking these home in my 78 Chevette, and we would, or I would take them, and I was start just scrapping them. And then I realized one day, well, they're kind of soft. And I started forming them over just random things and thought, well, I wonder if I can make a car out of this. So I took wood and carved a mold that looked like a sort of like an F-170 or like a mid-90s F-150. And that's when I started making the ones back here. So this is from that era. So this is probably mid-90s or so. And these are hand formed over wooden molds. So the sides were two different panels. The roof was a different panel, and the roof's a different panel, and then of course the hood and everything. And then what I did with these is I used brass. I didn't have a welder. I didn't know how to weld, so I knew how to solder. So I made all the roll cages out of brass, stuck them on old RC10 chassis, and I would race them. Tried to run my local hobby shops, and they didn't like it. They thought we were going to die. Don't know why. It was just weird. And but that's where I started with the whole RC aspect of metal stuff. As I moved forward, I lost the wind in my sails with the RC stuff racing, because no hobby shop would let me race the cars. And then around 2005, I caught wind of Pirate 4x4. One Pirate 4x4, they had their subcategory of the RC crawlers. And I thought, man, people are doing these with RC cars. This is cool. And so I started following them, which turned into RC Crawler. And as I started stuck with RC Crawler, I thought, well, I got to have my own. And my own became the Nylent, the very first Nylent, which I still have at least the body for, the Scorpion body. And that was my first real crawler. It didn't survive very long. If you're familiar with anything with the Nylent stuff, they tend to break really fast when you actually try to crawl them. So I did my research, and at the time, the only thing you could do was you get a Stampede transmission, TLT axles, and you built your own chassis, and that was your crawler. And so it took me forever, because I was recently married. I had a young kid. I couldn't spend a couple $100 on an RC car for part. So I bartered and traded, and finally got the parts I needed and built my first real crawler. And the minute I built that car, I immediately built a body for it out of aluminum, because I thought this is the perfect platform to be able to, smash up something. So I've been building crawlers since 2005-ish, 2006, I guess, probably closer to when I actually built my first truck. And then sometime around 2000, late 6, early 7, I got the idea of building that truck up here, my green one. That one is the original truck from 2007. I started making panels that year, and I'm still currently working on it. I never stopped working on it. Every so often I'll do a little bit here, a little bit there. But that's the same truck, and been driving through it. I probably have 100 plus batteries through that body, and it's still holding up. Because the one thing that you mentioned earlier about people not quite understanding what I do, my stuff is thin. It's supposed to be thin. It's supposed to be lightweight as far as the material thickness, not as far as like the weight of the vehicle. And so when you hit something, it gets dents in it. That's what I want to do. And so some people don't quite get that. They ask me, well, can you make the body stronger so they last longer? And no, I can't. That's not what I'm doing them for. If you don't quite grasp the concept of it, maybe you shouldn't get one. And I've actually talked people out of getting my trucks, just because I realized that no, they're not quite ready for what I'm going to give them. So, but other than that, it's just been the last few years, since 2007, building up the forms and the molds and all that stuff, and kind of getting to where I am now. So.
I think you did a great job there, Blake. And I think I know exactly what you mean. When you first see one of the trucks that you've done, it is a work of art. And maybe people don't necessarily grasp the idea of, I'm going to go bash and bend this thing up. And it is a delicate balance, I guess, because if you made it stiffer and stronger, you're making it heavier. I guess there's a downside. But I've seen after Desmond's place how bad it was. I mean, you destroyed that Suburban.
Well, actually, I wouldn't say I destroyed it, because I mean, it's right here, and I did fix it a little bit, but you can see there, all I did was kind of push the doors out slightly.
Okay.
But the structure is fine. I mean, it wasn't as tough as the courses were at his place. It held up really well, and I was not gentle on it.
Okay.
So, but when it comes to my other trucks, like this one up here, and I'll just pull the body down just because the body's loose. This one has way less damage on it, but has 100 times more hours.
This is my favorite one right here. I love this one.
Oh yeah, I mean it's got. This is the one that I get more attention of than anything else, obviously, because of the detail, the level of detail it has. But even just the fender itself, it's not terribly destroyed. It's mainly because I drive this one like I would drive my daily driver / wheel and truck. That's the concept. And you have to understand that that's the way it's going to be. You have to, you think of it, I always tell people, think of it as a real truck. So you have a dedicated crawler that it's doing nothing but wheeling. How are you going to drive it? And, oh yeah, I'll just slam it in the trees. I don't care. All right. What's it going to look like when you're done? Oh, it's going to be destroyed. Absolutely. Do the same thing with this, but think of it in the scale at which you are. It's take the truck and lean it up against something. It's going to get damage on it. And you're not going to go take your real car and pick it up by the roof. What's going to happen to it? Yeah, it's going to get destroyed. I said, you got to think of these as real cars. And so I'm working on absolute realism. That's my ultimate goal. And I'm not going to compromise on that. So, and I don't get, I'll say, since this is just a hobby of mine, it's not a true business. I only do it just to enjoy, letting other people enjoy my stuff as well as enjoy doing the work and things like that. So I'm not afraid to tell somebody that this is not a product you want. I actually had a lady one time, a long time ago, who came to me and said, I want one of your cars, and started talking with her and come to realize that it was for her son, who was only 14 years old. And I said, well, how many RCs does he have? Oh, this would be his first one. I said, you don't want my truck. And she was kind of, this is just through texts and stuff like that. And she was kind of put off. She's like, well, why are you trying to talk me out of buying your vehicle? And I said, because he's not going to enjoy it. I said, he's going to go out, he's going to treat it like just a regular RC car. It's going to get absolutely destroyed in 5 minutes. And then he's going to be out hundreds of dollars. And you're not going to be happy because his car that he just bought is going to be destroyed. And, I said, go. I told him where to go. So go here, get him a hobby grade RC, get him into RC first, have him, build and drive a dozen RC cars, then come back to me and see if he's still interested in doing it. I said, this is not entry level stuff. This is, the high end of basically modeling. This is high end modeling is what it is. And it's just, you're able to drive it. So,
and I think that's where I'm hoping a lot of people picked up on that last sentence, that we're really talking over a lot of people's heads right now if they're trying to grasp what you're doing. I appreciate how loud this has to be on your ears and banging your fingers. I can only imagine the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that you must put into one of these builds.
Oddly enough, there's no noise involved. So everything I do, and I have an example right here. So these are the molds that I have, are resin molds. And I do 2 different versions of it. I can get into that real quick.
Yeah.
So I either do a direct, straight copy off of a Lexan body, or I do a stepped process off of a hard plastic body. So an example is, this is actually the mold off of a Ranger pickup. So this is the Tamiya's version of a Ranger, like a 92 Ford Ranger. And here's one that I just pulled out even today. And you can see where it just fits right in that spot. So what I'll do is I will use cardboard. I will cordon off a section, pour the resin directly into it, pop it out, and I've got a mold to start with. Now that mold is just, it's bare. You look at it, you can see the edges aren't clean. There's stuff on it that'll need like bumpers and such like that. And I'll turn around, spend the time, and I'll clean up all the edges. I'll cut out where the taillights go, and I'll do some post work. And another thing that people don't realize is when I build a mold, it's not a 5-minute process. It takes time to do the casting to begin with, and there's a post process. It takes time to do all this work. This one's actually, if you'll look, see if I got the right one here. Oh, of course not. There we go. So if you notice, the one in my hand up here is longer. So this particular mold I'm building for my Class 2 comp truck. It's actually got a longer bed from the wheel arch forward. To do that, I had to cast a small chunk in the original body and then bond it to the old mold. I'll do that a lot. I'll take molds and I'll copy them and I'll form them together and do other things to make the end result I'm looking for. Now, I didn't do any finish work yet. I literally just bonded these 2 together using more resin. And but once I finish this off, then this will be the mold that I use for my fenders on that truck. Or if somebody wants a long bed, that's basically a long bed pickup truck. The process for doing 2 parts or a hard plastic body, for example, let's say you have, I don't think I have the original here, but most common one everybody knows, TF2 / Tamiya Bruiser, Mountaineer, whatever you want to call it, hard plastic body. I will actually cast those. Oh yeah, here actually. So I use liquid silicone. The silicones allow me to make a negative. So this, you can see, is actually the Toyota tailgate. And then I'll pour the resin directly into this, pop it out, and then I've got my positive mold. The process to do that is even more time consuming because I've got to do a form around portions of it. I can't do the whole body at once. The Suburban back here, the original body for that one was made by a guy named Pardon My Noob / Rich. And it was a complete painted, done body. And so I have to be careful that when I make my castings, I don't do any damage to it, which I can do. And so, but to make the surround around the entire body, because it was all one piece, I did one side at a time. It took me 6 hours per side just to set up the mold before I even cast it. And that's going in and laying down tape, and then laying down or putting in little bits and pieces of cardboard and clay. And I use a hot glue gun to kind of form everything together. It can be up to 6 hours just to make the forms. Then after I've cast them, then I turn around and I have to cut them into sections, trim them up wherever I want, and do post-processing work and such like that. And then the silicones and the resins aren't cheap. This liquid silicone stuff here is about $300 for 2 gallons, and the resin is about $100 for 2 gallons. So, but that gives me the ability to make anything that I need to for the molds that I'm looking at doing, even so much as I'll recreate hard plastic parts like grills. So there's the TF2 grill, and you can see it's in rough form. It's got all kinds of flashing on it and such. And then that's the actual mold for it. So I took original TF2 grill. I basically surround it with clay, make my form, cast that in silicone, put the original back in here, make another form around it, cast the other half in silicone, and then I can repop original parts. And I'll use those to make modifications. So on this truck, a good example, you can see the grill is broken.
Yep.
But the grill actually is more than one piece. There's 3 sections to it. So if you're familiar with the real Toyota grills, there's 2 outer bezels and then the center grill part. I actually cut one of these down and made my own grill with the 2 outer parts and the centerpiece that they slide together. And then I recast that, making my own molds for the outer portions and for the center. And so then I can make those. So these are my originals, the original design, and then this one is just, a copy of the Tamiya stuff. And or actually the original was a Tamiya one, but this one actually is the TF2, the TF2 forms. So with that though, the actual forming process is just a lot of tools. There's no pounding involved. It's all wooden sticks.
So you're just kind of pressing this.
Not even necessarily pressing. It's more of and I can even show you real quick because I have a piece right here. So a good example, even with just this one here.
Yep.
I'll start, and this is obviously not the whole thing, but you're pushing it like this. And that action of sliding it back and forth forces the material down onto the mold so you can get all the details you need.
As you mash the details, this is where the metal mashing begins. Yeah. I'm thinking you're here with the hammer, like banging stuff.
That's all it is.
Wow. Look at that.
So what the pain comes in is my hands. I do have lots of pain in my hands. So there's residual pain there from past history of doing stupid stuff as a kid, like mountain biking and things like that. But this is still, yes, I could probably stamp these. I know how to make the stamps and stuff, but like it falls along with another question people always ask me is, do you 3D print your molds? No, I won't. And the reason is, there's a caveat to that, but the reason I don't do it up to this point is because I sit on a computer all day long and model 3D stuff. And the last thing I want to do is come home and model more 3D stuff to make molds. I would rather cast them by hand. I would rather, make silicone copies. And because it's a hands-on thing that I like to do, and then I'm able to, it's actually much faster to do it this way than it is to try to go through the step process of 3D modeling the mold the way I want it, and then printing it out. And I can't use the STL printers. It has to be resin printers, stereolithography stuff, because every little detail shows up in that metal, even to the point where I don't, you can't see it on the thing there, but there's a little hair there. That hair will show up in the panel. You'll see it.
Wow.
And so I have to make sure these are perfectly clean before I start. I have like little brushes. I have makeup brushes that I use, and I use those to clean the dust and dirt off of it before I start working on them. Because if I don't, every little sand, grit, anything like that will show up on the mold or the final product. And even so much that if I have primer versus shiny paint, I can notice a difference, because primer normally has a texture to it. Shiny paint obviously is glossy, and that glossiness is what I'm looking for. That's why I like using bodies that are unpainted. So the hard plastic bodies that are unpainted have a nice finish to them. They're shiny. They come out of the molds that way. Most Lexan bodies are the same way. The inside of the body is what I use, and that's a shiny part, because they will purposely gloss up the original mold so that way it releases easily. So I need to have that kind of, you know, perfectness for my outer panels. Inner panels, not quite so much. Some of the processes I use, if I don't have an inside panel, obviously 99% of them don't. I have the outer stuff to work with. So everything on the inside I hand make. These are the inner fenders for the Toyota pickup. I'll get a little closer, you can see that. And so this is actually what I would consider a negative, not a positive mold. So when I form this, this will be formed in, and you'll see that side of the panel in the actual body. And I have an example. Actually, I have one here. No. Yeah, I'll show you this one. So you can see in there.
Yep.
So it's actually, you're looking at the negative side. So that's the outside of the mold. And then you would see like that. There you go. So there's the actual mold. And this one was done with just straight clay. I took just a pile of clay, and I started shaping it and stuck it inside a body that I had started working on, and kind of I looked at some photographs. Everything I do a reference off of real photographs of real trucks, and got all the little nicks and bumps and stuff like that. And then I cast this in silicone and cast it in resin, and there's my mold. Sometimes I'll do just styrene. So this is the grill, or the radiator support. I'm sorry. This is the radiator support. That's just styrene. It's just layers of styrene. That's all it is. And I use this actual one for making all my grills. And when I need something that's kind of a little bit mix of both, this is the mold for the cow area here. And you can see it's actually layers of both resin, styrene, and PVC. This is what I had laying around. But this represents, there's the actual piece. And so that represents the cow area where it comes down to the seam. For those that are familiar with Toyota pickup trucks, there's a seam right here that goes along the upper and lower portion of the firewall. And then of course I have the mold that does the bottom portion of the firewall from there down to the floor, and then the floor across the bottom. So there, when I originally started all of this, it actually started off as a body filler or Bondo. There's the cab corners for this truck, and that literally is Bondo. And what I had done, I have yet to copy these and make them into resin. I do want to do that in one of these days. So when I first started doing these, I didn't know how to copy an original body. And of course, I didn't have a lot of money to work with. It was only in high school. When I knew Bondo would set no matter how thick you made it. And so the original idea was to take a hard plastic body, and I used plaster of Paris, because plaster is easy to work with. I made my forms, used the plaster, popped it out while the plaster was still wet-ish. I would say it's solid, but it wasn't dried yet. I would pour the Bondo into that, and because it wasn't quite dry yet, it didn't fuse itself to the Bondo, and I was able to pop the Bondo out. So all my original panels came from Bondos, Bondo molds I made. And it wasn't until I started finding resins and, you know, save my money and save my pennies, and I got resins. It was just opened up a whole new world. Because right now I have, I think at last count, almost 400 molds.
So once you make a mold, obviously you want to inventory that, and you can go back and reuse it again at some point, correct?
So
You
the fenders and stuff like that for my Toyota, I bet you I have the front fender. I have at least, I gotta have close to 100 molds on that one mold. Like I've formed it over 100 times.
Wow.
It's just they'll never go bad as long as I keep it thick enough, robust enough to handle it. There's actually a gentleman that was recently in contact with me, and I've been kind of guiding him on how to make his own stuff. And he tried using the original hard plastic body, and I told him, I said, you're not going to have good luck with that, because what happens is the hard plastic bodies, over here, you know, they deflect. They deform as you're pushing them, and you need a significant amount of pressure in order to get the details. And so I told him, say, you're going to have to teach yourself how to make molds. And I walked him through it best I could, and he's done pretty good. So I mean, he's doing the plaster and Bondo process that I originally started with, because he's similar to when I started. I don't think he's got a whole lot of money to work with, and so resins, like I said, are expensive. So, but that's kind of where it all began. And
so I can imagine, Blake, I can imagine right now your ultimate customer. We know who you're going to deflect and who you're going to say, you know, the new RC guy, this isn't for you. But that dream customer must be the guy that has a one-to-one that he needs a replica of, to let you come in there and put this kind of detail. You must put the smile on faces of a lot of guys.
I would think so. There is a handful. There's been a couple guys. I have never had anybody that gave me negative feedback on my stuff. I try to be completely open and upfront from the get-go. So if you come to me, like right now, I'm fully booked up for at least 6 or 8 months. So I'm not taking any orders or anything like that.
6 to 8 month turnaround time right now to get on a waiting list.
Well, that's for me to start it. So it's
that's to get onto the waiting list.
That's to get on the waiting list. Yeah, it's like 6 to 8 months.
Is there a ballpark price that you could let somebody know? Like, what do you have? I'm sure it's a tier depending on how complex, but
well, and that's probably a good thing as an example. Hold on, I got a good example here. So I get this question a lot.
I bet. I hate to shop by price, especially with the type of work that you're doing, but just to give people an idea.
So this is what I consider a basic body. In other words, it's just the outer skins. You're only going to get a fender, door, back of the cab, roof. You know, the cost is beat up. This is the one I use for myself personally. And that's all you'll get. This by itself with a hood, of course, is $225.
Windows included or no window?
No, windows included, because you can't get a window that works for you. So I will give you both front and back windows too.
Okay. And
you also get with that things like door handles and stuff.
Yep.
Because most people don't have, I recast all the original RC four-wheel drive door handles and things. And so most people don't have them. They're not great, but they at least get them started. If you want to use the RC four-wheel drive stuff, it will fit. This is obviously a copy, but the original RC four-wheel drive grill will work with these. I'll say we'll work with it. I'm not going to say it'll fit, because you can't mount it the way you would the regular RC four-wheel drive body. But this being said, this is the basic one. It goes up from there. So if you want anything else like inner fenders, firewall, radiator support, that all adds cost. And the costs vary depending on what kind of vehicle it is, what kind of part you want. And it's all based on my time. It's just how long it takes me to make a panel. I've got a listing for myself of how long it takes me to make panels, and I judge it price-wise by that. But when you start getting to something like this is a totally different scenario. So this one here has what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe 10 panels in it, right? From the beginning, not including the bed. This one here, there's over 50 panels just in this body. And so all told, between the cab and the bed, I've got 84, there's 84 individual panels, all home formed, that make up this particular body. Now, if you get a drop bed, all the drop beds are the same. Doesn't matter if you get fully detailed one or the basic one. My drop beds look just like this. You're going to get all the inner panels. You're going to get all the structure on the underside.
It's gorgeous.
And then they get mounted like a real truck would get mounted. So you'd have to make some kind of tab off of a frame, and then it gets bolted to these struts. Now, when I do it, more often than not, I'll tell somebody, you got to have a cage. The only exception is this one, because, well, let's put it this way. This truck's $1,500. And when you buy this truck, you're not only getting just the completely detailed body that you see here, you're going to get door latches, which I just use magnets to hold the door shut, but handmade hinges, handmade hood hinges, grill, all that stuff comes with the body because you can't use anything else. I have to supply it. So you get a complete body minus paint, but that's installed. So if you send me your chassis, I install it on your chassis, no extra cost. That's all part of the package deal. If you want, but with something like this, it's pretty obvious. I mean, you can see it's not going to hold up to any kind of abuse unless you've got a cage. Cages are required on these things. If I'll say that they're required if you want it to last. If you don't mind that it gets in the first time you roll it, then by all means don't put a cage in it. But my trucks, I wholeheartedly recommend you put a cage in. So one of the things that people will ask me, they'll say, "Oh, well, are they super light or heavy?" Because people think it's metal, it's heavy. No, it's super, super light. Most bodies are actually lighter than their Lexan counterparts.
Wow.
Because the material is only 0.005 thick. And but you have to have a cage. So when you start adding on to the cage, then it adds weight to the car. I've been working with trying to find the happy medium. This is probably the closest I've had to a happy medium for both. So my comp truck is, it's got the same body that I do on my other Toyotas. The only difference is the cage on the inside is bare minimum. So I don't have crossbars in it. I don't have down bar. Like, it's just got the up underneath it, and that's all it is. There's no cage. There's no bar from here to here. The only thing is the actual just body itself. And I'm running this in full-on competition with just the aluminum inner panels underneath there. It's kind of hard to see because of the light, but so this one has been my best compromise between competitiveness and scale. And I took that to Super Shafty Fall Crawl. For those that are familiar with that, it is hands down the most difficult RC rock crawling competition, period.
Wow.
AJ, who owns
Key City
Hobby, he puts on an amazing show. It's better than nationals. I mean, it's just it's the show itself is smooth. It runs nonstop without any issues. I mean, it's a great show to go to, and the level of courses just out of this world. I'll say that some of the guys that come from all over. There's a guy, I think his name is Brandon, came in from Taiwan, and to the event this past year. And if you've seen any of his competitions from over where he's from, he's top level. And Dave Zetmeyer, I always pronounce his last name wrong. Dave Z, he is premium level competition. I mean, he's the cream of the crop, and he would go through courses up there and almost not finish them sometimes. This past year, I don't think there was a single person that got a perfect score. They were getting no matter what, you're going to get penalties just because that's how tough the courses are. And I took that one up there, and out of 90 competitors, I think I was, it was in the middle, like 30 something maybe. Not bad for a truck that was completely untested. I literally built it the weeks before the competition, and but I made it through all the courses, and that was the thing with that. I'll say almost all the courses. One of them was my fault because I knew better. I tried too hard on one gate and hurt myself and ran out of time. But the truck never broke. The truck never failed me. I failed the truck. Let's put it that way. But it completed all the other courses, which was my total goal for the whole weekend, was just to complete course.
Blake, we can totally respect that. We just sat and listened to you talk for probably almost the last hour now, watching the level of scale detail that you've built into these trucks, and then turn around and drop it onto a comp platform and want to get out there and, you know, you're not building shelf queens. And I so much freaking respect for the way that you can build this scale and get out there and drive it, beat them up, bash them, and you know, you're a builder, you're a driver, so much respect.
So because the thing I want to show people is the stuff that I do can go both directions. So a lot of people will assume that because they are wheel damage, that they can only use them for hobby driving, trails and that kind of stuff. And I try to prove to them, like, no, this is full-on competition, class 1 competition truck. I mean, this thing, wow. It has, you can see it. It's got Team Garage Hack transmission, transfer case in it, all the lightweight components. I don't like portals, so I stuck with the straight axles, the SCX 10.2s, but it's all competitive level stuff.
Impressive.
Feels limited body, and it does well. This one here is my class 3. It's actually, I built this one first, but it's nearly identical in drivetrain. So it's got the same SCX 10.2 axles, the Team Garage Hack drivetrain components. The only real difference between these two, I think, is the fact that this has the kick-up skid plate and that has a flat skid on it, just to comply with the rules at the time. The other thing too, which I can get into as well, which is my roll cages and stuff. So this is the stuff, this is what I originally was known for, was my metal bodies. But I do build cages too. And I've done for other people complete builds with no metal body at all. Desmond was one of my first ones who, he brought me a hard plastic body and said, can you make me a truggy out of it? I said, sure. So I built him a truggy, and I've rebuilt it, I think 3 times now. And but with these, I also do my own chassis. So these are 22 gauge stainless bent over a metal form. So my frame rails are actual C-channel frame rails.
Wow.
Wow.
There in the end. So it's an actual C-channel frame rail, and it's hand formed. I formed these and made a cross pieces to kind of support them. And that was my way to try to get lightweight. I like to try to prove to people think that they've got to go carbon fiber, titanium, aluminum, you know, to be competitive. And I'm trying to show them no, you don't. You don't have to do all that stuff to be competitive. And it's just a matter of building balance in a vehicle. And so I like my aluminum body because I need the points cage-wise anyways. For Sorca, if you're talking Sorca, I need the points to build a cage. So I might also make the body as light as I can. And so I use my aluminum bodies, and it, of course, shows damage, which is kind of cool. And but then I wanted to build my own chassis to say that, you know, you can still have a steel C-channel chassis and be competitive. Now, it is based off of loosely based off of the shoot, I can't think of the name now off the top of my head. Razor's Edge, maybe? It might be Razor's Edge chassis, I'm not positive. I used some of the geometry from that, but I made my own CAD profile and then had somebody laser it out of 1/4-inch black steel as my actual form. So it's my own design. It's just loosely based off of a design that I knew worked as far as the points for location for the the mounts and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so a lot of the cage work and things like I do is just as much fun. If you saw pictures of the Operation 11 Charlie, oh, there it is. Okay.
No, you can keep going. I just wanted to bring up your page while you were talking so people know where to find you. We got some comments in where they can find you.
Yeah, then that was really why I wanted to give Blake an opportunity here. We went past the 9 o'clock hour. Blake, I know you broke a lot of hearts tonight being able to tell us about this 6 to 8 month waiting list just to get onto your waiting list. Now, this is when I'm going to quickly talk to my wife one-on-one here. Emily, please turn down the volume. Turn down the volume. I'll wait. All right, Blake, we need to get my name penciled somewhere in on that waiting list for the waiting list. You sold me, dude. We have time to figure out what we're going to work on and what we're going to do. But Peter and I know I also put Peter's name down too, because
Yeah,
we want one. It'll be fun to work with you. And if you get to the point that you're able to work with you, Blake, how do we find you? What are you rocking? Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook are the easiest things to do. Just get on Messenger and send me a message. Or the other thing that I'm trying to get to work towards is a public. I will publicly say when I'm ready to take orders, and so I'm trying to whittle down the ones that I have. Like Ryan Kornmesser, you're familiar with him? It was
RC Addict.
I'm currently working on his truck. I gotta get that thing done. I'm also working on a lot of other ones right now, but what I want to try to do is get to a point where I'm ready. I don't have anything on my plate, and then I'll publicly post up and say I'm taking X number of orders, and it could be 6, 8, 10. Don't know. It just depends on what I feel like would be the best to do, and it's a first come first serve thing because I get so many people daily that they request, hey, can you build this for me? Can you build this for me? And I go, I can't keep track of everybody. And so I'll just tell them, look,
I'll tell you when I'm ready.
I'll tell you, look up here, keep looking at my page. I'll post it up ahead of time and say, I'm going to post up. Like when I'm guessing, I want to have a lot of these done by February for the USTE event. Just so that I can kind of free myself up after USTE. And then a couple days before I actually start taking orders, I'll post up and say, within a few days, I'm going to start taking orders. And they will be first come, first serve. And then my plan is to be set up so that the orders, they will be requested. I will jury them because just because you request an order doesn't mean I'm actually going to do it.
Right.
Being that this is basically art for me, I have to build something that I know I'm going to enjoy building.
Good for you.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but not everybody's going to get one of these things.
No. And a lot of painters, a lot of the Lexan body painters stopped taking custom requests. They just started buying up lots of clear bodies, painting them their way, and putting them up for sale. Either you want it or you don't. But that one-on-one interaction's kind of going out the window. They got burnt out, tired of painting stuff that they didn't want or stuff that they couldn't keep.
It's kind of funny though, because I think of it opposite of that. So I can't think of all the things that it would be kind of cool to build. And so I like the input from other people. And that's why I was building custom one-off jobs. And so when somebody will come in and they'll say, hey, would you be interested in doing, now I try to keep it to bodies that I already have molds for, because it's just too time consuming to keep making more molds. So if they come and say, I want a Chevy truck, but I want to do, like a really long bed, or I want to do a tube back on it, or I want to do this extra cage. And I go, oh, that's cool. I've never done one of those. I'd like to do that. That's the kind of stuff that I want to try to do.
Okay.
I do have a running list. I don't really have it posted anywhere, but I have a running list of all the bodies that I currently have available. I want to try to stick to those bodies just because
the molds are done.
The molds are done. And to make more molds, I have to charge so much extra money if you want something custom that I don't currently have, that it's cost prohibitive to do that.
Okay.
I'm actually working with Scale Rack. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I can't remember his name.
Robert.
Robert, right. I'm working with him. He is helping me out to make molds for a dent side F-Series truck. So it's going to be everything from standard cab, crew cab, long bed, short bed, Bronco. I'm going to have available. Definitely not going to have them available until after USTE.
Okay.
Him and I are working on, this is my first jump into 3D printed molds.
Okay.
Or at least kind of sort of 3D printed molds. I purchased the files for just open source model. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling, since I have the ability to do it at work. I do it when I'm on my lunch break and stuff like that. I'm pulling out the parts that I don't need, like door handles and things like that. So I have just the basic body shape. And then, but it's going to be printed as just a regular hard plastic body. It's only going to be with 060 thickness or whatever. I'm going to make copies of that. And then your buddy, RC Jesus.
Oh, Nick Barber.
Yeah. I believe Nick is going to get that body when it's all said and done. But he's getting himself a set of molds for a Bronco.
Nice.
So, yeah, so the whole process of this is that I have myself a set of molds, and then I'm building some for his personal use. Please don't ask me to build molds for you, because this is a special occasion that I agreed to build some for him. I do not like building molds for people. And it's not because I don't want to like lose my secrets or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that. It's just that it's so time consuming and so expensive to make. I don't like making molds. I just, once they're done, I have mine. I like to keep mine, and then that's about it. But yes, I will eventually have that. There's some things that I want to build in the future. I would like to do some Land Rovers, Range Rovers, something like the series, stuff like that.
Awesome.
I'd also like to do XJ. One of the I've had this idea for a long time, a true unibody truck. So think of this level of detail, but with an XJ Cherokee. So it would have no frame to it. It would be just a true unibodied RC car and totally out of metal. So that is in the future to do, but nothing that's not going to happen anytime soon.
But that's okay. I think that's the perfect segue and way to wrap this up. When we tell everyone this is a page you want to follow. Watch this man on his journey, get creative, collaborate. You blew up RC Jesus's head a little bit by calling him my buddy. We don't like to say that publicly. I don't know if I go around running, I'm friends with him. Just kidding, Nick. But listen, you want to follow this man on his journey. Blake, dude, I'm speechless, and I'm thankful that I'm not in your head, because I know there are a lot of crappy looking Lexan bodies that have come out recently that do not look anything like what a licensed body should look like. And it must make your head hurt looking at some of these ugly bodies that come out.
It does, absolutely. Lexan's not terrible because I'm assuming that they're not going to be perfect. That's the way I've known Lexan. What bothers me is some of these hard plastic bodies that do not look accurate. And a real quick one that I before we go, one thing I mentioned was the mid-'80s Toyota pickup that RC Four Drive done. Nothing against RC Four Drive. I love their products. They do great work. I refuse to use that body to make anything off of, because it is not accurate.
Wow.
And there's no point in me trying to make a metal body off of something that doesn't represent the real thing. It defeats the purpose. So
the level of detail that you get it's worth the time and money to let you get creative.
I hope so. And I hope that I can at least really, quickly show people what I do, and that that the stuff that I have might not be exactly what they originally thought.
But you're having fun making it, and that's the best part. You seem to really enjoy it. So,
oh, absolutely, yeah. And it is fun. It's definitely, and anybody that I've talked to that wants questions on how to do it, and I'm more willing to, as much as I can, try to help them out. I mean, I can't I can't sit here obviously and go
make it for you, but
you might want to know how to do this, but I'm here to answer questions anytime anybody wants to ask. So
good for you. Peter, what do you think? You got any last minute words for him?
Oh man, it's awesome work. And like I said, I see your work, USTE, I see it all over, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Definitely an inspiration. I love the art. I love what you create, and great, great work, man. Thanks for coming on.
We'll be at USTE
said.
again this year. So I was questionable, but I decided I made the commitment that I am going again. So.
What was it that you just said? Your USTE? Was that what that was? I
will do USTE again in 2023. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. That's good news. You should be there, meeting and greeting. Will your father be with you again?
Yes, actually, my dad and both my kids should be there this time. So that'll be nice.
Awesome. We look forward to seeing you again. Blake, thank you so much for sharing what you do with us, and much respect, man. Keep going.
Yeah, and I try to keep it as quick as I can. I could go on for hours and hours and hours.
Dude, if we didn't have a couple other things lined up, we'd probably be here all night with you. We can't thank you enough.
Sure.
All right, Blake, take care, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
Peter, I meant it, dude. Put us on his waiting list. The waiting list to get onto a waiting list. That I say that jokingly, but he really said that as a fact. There's a waiting list to get onto the waiting list.
Yeah, and I was talking about a simple little project. I mean, that'll happen probably next February. I mean, just on the time frame. And it was impressive. Just when he was going over the mold process, 6 hours for a panel. You think about how long. All that customization that goes into doing a whole cab or a whole bed, and it's very impressive. I mean, and I think he said it best that this ain't for your first time RC person. You do one roll with that truck, and you ruin the whole art of it. So yeah, definitely great work, man.
I was like scratching down questions the entire time. I'm like jotting things down, wanted to ask him. He got to everything. We got there, the long way, but he got to everything and really understood what inspires him, what he's passionate about. I would definitely love to be on that waiting list. We'll have to see if it comes about one year. It's fun to have a bucket list, right, Pete?
Yeah, another project. Yeah, like projects.
Something ultra scale, like that kind of passion that somebody's put their blood, sweat, and tears. And I learned a ton. Dude, I was seriously thinking that there was a hammering process, like banging and forming
I thought
metal.
I was on the same page. And then when he did the example, I was like, wow.
Like pressing it and really tweaking it. As a 3D printer guy, I understood what he meant when he got down to the hair on that mold.
It's the same like with spray painting. I mean, you get the littlest particle on that Lexan, it's going to show up in the paint, and it's try to get that out after.
Seriously, any great painter will tell you, Pete, it's all in the preparation. If you don't take the time to prep it and have that surface smooth and super clean, when you go to paint it, if you rush it, it's not worth it. So yeah, good example, Pete.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We had a special guest. We always say you never know what's going to happen on the Rad show. You never know who's going to pop in. So as Blake was talking, FMS joined us. They popped in. They commented. They're still on the show.
They're still here.
You never know who's going to pop into the Rad show. And then I was reading a comment. Joe Harrington said I need a seat. I kind of sit all day, so I move around a lot. I got the computer over here, so maybe a seat. Mike sits down.
I'm not sitting, dude.
Oh, I thought you had a high rise there.
No, bro, I'm on my tippy toes standing here with my ADHD, my hyper, whatever that's called. People that know me, I'm like a bouncing bunny, just bouncing around. I can't stand still. It's good for me to stand here.
I sit most of the day, when I don't work. So
last week when we did the FMS show on the Michigan, last week when we debuted the Michigan, I sat. I spun the computer around and sat a completely different angle to get that big truck on the workbench and in the screen. So full disclosure, yes, Joe Harrington, last week I did sit, but all the other times I'm standing. Yeah, Pete, we kind of went overboard a little bit. So let's wrap this up a little bit full circle. I'm going to pass this guy by. I'm not going to put any time on him this week. It's not fair. But since it is new, the Axial Micro Capra came, and we'll come back to this one next week when we have more time. But I had to tell you, when I took it out today to drive it around, the light kit on this thing is bonkers. It's so bright. It's come back with a lot of great reviews, and I've seen a lot of good feedback on this thing. And I have to do something real fast, Pete, before we jump on, and because you and I will probably wrap it up on the unboxing of the Smasher. Headhunter. I remember our good friend Mark from Headhunter Studios. If you remember, he sent out an SCX6 style head. It was a cool skeleton head that I painted up and did. It came out perfect. That's the whole reason I got those detail brushes and taught myself how to paint right and all that kind of stuff. Well, the sizing was off just a smidge. It was a hair small. So what's this cat do? He goes out, gets himself an SCX6 platform for his own personal to resize it so he gets it right. Wow. So the exciting thing I want to tell the world, if you need a head for an SCX6, Headhunters, resize them. They are spot on perfect now. It's the perfect size for your SCX6 platform. And there is a variety of different styles that we're all aware of that we know that he does. But it was very appropriate that I gave Mark a nod and said thank you very much to Mark for doing this. He did not have to resend another one at all. I was more than happy and could have lived with the size. But the reason I wanted to tell you this is that's the type of passion that he puts into his business. He studies the Etsy, looks at the comments, studies the reviews, and if somebody comes back with a negative feedback, bro, he's on that and up at night stressing and ready to fix it. He will make it right.
Yeah, so, he's a good dude. He does good work.
Headhunter Studios. We'll make sure we continue to support and mention him as you're looking for a driver head. Headhunter Studio. Mark is here to stay. He's one of the good guys. You can find him in RC Car Action Gear Guide. He's back and made a resurgence, and he's been around for a long time, but he's really taken hold this recently. Last couple of months, really came back. Not making waves. In his words, he's making a tsunami. And that's his words exactly. He's not here to make waves. He's here to make the tsunami.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a good dude. And, it's interesting going back to the mash again. We were talking about, since the Rock Hobby mash again was released. It was interesting to see this week of what people started doing, who's getting them. Big buzz, man. A lot, when it debuted, when it was released, a lot of questions like any release, and the buzz has been there, man. I mean, I've seen people, just ordered mine, sold out here,
sold out.
And all I did so far was put wheels today on it, and there's such a great platform to build off of.
But you took the roof off yours, Pete.
Yeah,
it looks great without the top on. I like it without the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's just totally. I went old school. You remember these? I went old school. So the top off. I mean, it just looks great. I mean,
it does.
So much left to do with this. If we ever get caught up, I feel like me and you are like 5 trucks behind. But 475s. Skateboard in the back, huh?
But look at the artwork on this skateboard. It's like an old 80s style with that old 80s fishtail style board.
Old school.
Dude, he lays right in there on that 80s YJ. It sits right in the passenger seat.
So, and it's funny, I actually saw one on the road yesterday.
Did you?
And
yes.
It's like just a great platform. I mean, I went from the Jimny, now I'm on this, and now we got the Smasher, go figure. Metalmasher now to the Smasher. I mean, this thing is just a cool. I know it's been out for a while, right?
Yeah.
It's been out. We're kind of jumping in a little later in the game, and it's impressive. We were talking about this earlier. People really took to market on this little thing. I mean, there's a high-speed motor option. You got aftermarket parts already compatible, and it's fun. It looks fun. What I've seen online, people are doing, swapping everything out. It just looks like a fun truck. I mean,
Well, Peter, you said a good word there. You said took this market by storm. But what the key word there, Pete, there is no market for this. So what FMS stepped into a realm that there was nothing there. Give me a 1/24th monster truck. Somebody put in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. Do you know of another one?
what another micro?
Monster truck, a 1/24 scale monster truck, like
No.
with the big tire.
You like my color too, right?
Wait, oh man, you're 2 steps ahead of me. You're like the kid on Christmas morning ripping through your box.
I know
Wait,
you got to go
what-
somewhere. That's why.
Yeah, all right, fine. We'll keep this moving. What color did you get?
White.
White. So full disclosure, Pete, the other thing that you mentioned, and there was a reason why I called this our version unboxing. Why did we wait all day long to open these and do it tonight? We're doing our version of an unboxing. And yeah, we're late to the party. But it wasn't our fault. We can't control the shipping delays and what happens out there in the real world. And I did get word today that the Michigan sold out here. Our distributor down in Florida is tapped out. So anybody waiting for a Michigan, you're gonna have to wait until after January, I think now, or they're being shipped maybe from China. They might be able to send them, but the Michigan came, took the world by storm. You were right, Pete. They did great.
So somebody just posted Charisma makes one of these.
Charisma, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, whoever posted that. So Charisma makes a 1/24 scale monster truck. I wonder if that's new or if I guess I just missed it. But I really feel like this is a market that has not been saturated to have this monster truck. Bro, dude, it's hot.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it stopped me dead track, bro.
I mean, out of
Look at-
all the micros that we have and have been playing with, I mean, this is kind of, standard, remote. Anybody that has an FMS, same setup, battery, toolkit key, instruction manual and decals. You can put your decals on how you like. I like the tires, and right away, a lot of people have been upgrading the servo. They've been upgrading the axle housings. There's plenty of aftermarket parts for this. I mean, Treal, probably you could outfit this whole thing in Treal, which a lot of people did already.
So you're right, Pete. What are we dealing with? An FCX24 platform, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the axle housings from Treal that we were using on the FCX24 transferable, the links, even the shocks. I mean, Treal makes the shocks that go right on. So yeah, you got your portals, got your front headlights, body comes off quick. Yeah, I like the appearance. Totally,
Bro, it's breathtaking. This body is sharp.
Yeah.
I'm getting spoiled with the FMS hard body micro. I mean, and now, yeah, they're not the first one to do it. It reminds me of that same, like when Axial did their version, like when we made this transition and getting away from a Lexan body. Where's my FCX24?
You got headlights.
So yeah, we know there is a lot of aftermarket support already. Like everything that I kind of did for the FCX24. Oh, look at that. Very nice.
Yeah.
So I took the aluminum links off of my FCX24 Power Wagon. I took the aluminum off of here and put the brass on the crawler. So the heavier brass ones are on my crawler, and we're going to put the red aluminum, a lighter aluminum onto this.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little shopping tomorrow, but yeah. And then one comment, I know a lot of people were talking about the high speed motor option. $12 it will do backflips and both plug and play. So for $12, I mean, I do like that it has the high low option. You could hear the servo changing. That's a cool feature that are on a lot of FMS trucks, but definitely the high speed motor option. I'm gonna try out.
Absolutely.
But
Get some
everything's from
ramps. Do a backflip.
Yeah, no, this is pretty cool. You got your USB charger, battery. You can be up and running. I mean, the battery's kind of trickle charged already. I mean, this is right out of the box. It's running. Great Christmas gift. I mean, geez, I mean, for a kid, or us older kids. Yeah, no, I'm excited to work on this when we get to it. But a fun little truck.
I think I'm shocker. I'm sticker in mind. I'm into these stickers, dude. I like it.
Yeah, the turn-in radius is pretty wild too.
That is impressive. Yeah, it is.
It's got a nice reach, nice throw.
The upside of these coming a couple weeks weeks late was we were able to head over to Treal and get a little jump start on some aftermarket components. I'm going to throw a Powerhobby servo up in there. I know Reefs did a new micro servo.
Reef threw out the Raw 100.
Raw 100. Would the Raw 100 go in this? Is that what what is the Raw 100?
Well, it's marketed for a couple different things. I mean, from what I've seen so far, you could use it it would be good for the Rebel, kind of good for, shifting gears, your dig function. I'm definitely interested. I mean, he makes great quality. I'll definitely pick up a couple, but I don't know. I mean, I'm
assuming programmable, correct? Like that's got to be.
Well, I'm gonna probably throw a 99 or a 179 on this, and then our buddy from, we'll see if we can mount it on or DSM route. So, but the thing is the harnesses, that's something that we struggle with on the FCX 24. I mean, I just did the easy way, cut the wire, twisted it, solder and taped. And, we're talking about servo harnesses, right? And I know they sell them. Somebody posted something, they sell them on AliExpress or something, how you take your traditional servo wire and, or you can crimp it and make your own, right? So, little mod there. But yeah, it's a fun truck, man. Definitely recommend. I mean, first looks.
Right here, Pete. This is the kit. So I got the crimper. So you can make your own custom JST plugs now.
Guess what?
You got it. Yes. So that's what I've been learning right now is how to make custom JST plugs. Really started because of the FMS. And like you said, with the ESC on this particular one, it does not take a standard servo and a standard JST and does not plug into here. So you need to be able to make an adapter. Now, I do believe Jeremy Kilburn might have told us of one of the FMS platforms. If Jeremy's watching, he might be able to tell us. It might be the Apache or something. One of the FMS trucks actually did come with this conversion wire.
Yeah. Well, and I know they're out there. I mean, like I said, somebody posted a link. I think it was AliExpress where they have.
Yeah,
but it'll go into the servo and then it'll go into the FMS ESC. So it's definitely out there, but with the 24, I just cut the wire, twisted solder, did it.
It works. You got options, but yeah, with AliExpress, you're going to take a couple weeks for it to come. Yeah. It's not the best option. So what I did, and I'm going to try and do, Pete, hang on. Yeah, here it is, Pete. So what I ended up doing was going on and buying a whole bag full of them. So that's the actual end that you need. well, it took a couple of weeks for it to come here, but once I got the bag of them, now I can make the conversion kits. So I got the longer JST ends on the end, splicing them together, and just going to make them myself. So
Nice.
hopefully, if we're not Christmas decorating, if we're not doing holiday stuff tomorrow, maybe we'll have a chance to do these. I'll let you know. But so what Peter and I are talking about here, if anybody's tuning in for an FMS Smasher unboxing and our version of the first look at this baby, the what Peter's talking about is the servo. If you do a servo swap in this thing and upgrade it, you need that conversion. You need to swap out the JST end or splice it or do something to marry into that ESC that FMS uses. So Peter, my overall dude, right out of the box, she's hot. I like it a lot. I am very excited that I got the white. It was on my wish list. I wanted to go white.
I don't think I have any white trucks except for the Bushido. I mean, that's the only, but it looks good. And, a couple people commented that for the price point. I mean, like I said, you can get a great Christmas gift or, it's going to be a fun truck. And I think that high speed motor option, definitely check that out for $12. And I'm sure there's a body option available, but I like the white. I don't think I'm going to paint, maybe white and red. Definitely check out. You know what I'm going to do though? I'm probably going to swap out all the trail parts, move them over, and probably go with the red option, white and red, and see what it does.
We're really going to twin it because that's what I have too, P, is all the red. It's pretty much going to get white and red.
I'm looking above me. All I have is blue. So if you want me to be different, I'll do blue and you do red. I mean, I got all the trail blue stuff. Yeah, fun truck, man. I mean, like we said, this has been out for a while. We're not breaking the internet here, but we just got ours today. And I like it. My opinion is grab one if you can.
Absolutely.
Cool. And Treal's going to be making wheels for it, so expect that very soon. Probably some nice color options. So,
and Pete, full disclosure, the reason we didn't have them a couple weeks ago is they were a hot ticket, dude. Yeah. These things went lightning fast. Yeah. We were supposed to be staring down the early release with these things, and they went. Next thing you know, we turn around like they're all gone. They went that quick. So no harm, no foul. It's better to actually stretch this out. I'm more excited that we're doing an unboxing on this truck 3 weeks later after the fact. It kind of stretches it out a little bit because it did pop up. Then the next truck, then the mash again comes. So it's good to come back to these once in a while. It got blown over so quickly. They jumped from one, dude, just a week ago. Before that, we're doing FJ45 stuff.
Yeah. Well, and looking at it closer,
year for FMS, bro. We go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. We were doing the FJ45, and no, I was just looking at the whole, guts of it. All the stuff we put on the 24 will all go on. So this thing, if you want to make it tough and put some strength, I mean, the trail parts will all beef this up. But then you got the FJ we were working on. I mean, can't keep, trying to keep up.
Bro, yeah, we were just doing the FJ 1 second ago. Got this guy, spent some time getting the patina down, trying to learn how to paint this. Then we jumped right over to the Smasher and then the mash. It's been one hell of an end to the year for FMS.
Yeah, that definitely ended the year strong. I mean, I got a whole shelf here of FMS. Yeah, it's I got FMS all over. I mean, yeah, they definitely did good, and there's more to come, I'm sure. And even their large scale trucks. I mean, the Jimny, the and also the YJ. We talked about the leaf conversion. That's going to come down the pipe, and so yeah, FMS is definitely doing great things, and it's going to be an exciting 2023, Mike. From what we've been hearing.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way to kind of wrap this up and reel it in a little bit. Peter, you and I know we put a lot of work into to a lot of things. We've had irons in the fire all year long. We're cleaning up 2022, 2023. Super duper exciting. And I'm telling you, I'm excited about this. And we will do the best that we can, Pete, to keep the Rad Show platform updated. Maybe a first run video we can throw up on the Instagram tomorrow. I'll get my first test run with this thing up and out. I need to work on a half pipe right away. That's what I'm gonna start working on. Hang on a second. Do we have a scale banner? Hang on. I had some around here somewhere.
I'm thinking like the DJI gimbal right now, and like a jump or the drone or GoPro and like an FPV.
Yes.
You got to make it do backflips though. But you know, cool little compact package, man. Really nicely done. So
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to find like a flag. This thing needs to be like flying the flag behind it.
we'll get that done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I think it'll look cool with a Radrcahow flag blowing out the back end of this thing. An American flag, anything out there. Yeah. So I'm super duper pumped, bro. If you came here to see our version of this thing, my sticker stuck to the bottom. Big fan. I can't wait to tear into it. Good stuff. Hey, somebody else said that there's a charisma out there in the monster truck 124 scale monster truck scene. So
you know what
charisma.
we're gonna have to do? You know what we're gonna have to do? I have so many FMS remotes now. We're gonna have to mirror them to one, because the problem is you don't know which. It's getting to the point you don't know which of these remotes powers which. They all look a lot of them look the same except for like the Jimny's bigger, but I changed that out. But yeah, you're gonna have to start writing on them with markers.
Well, that's what I was gonna tell you. I did. Mine are all sharpied on the back. I just took a white Sharpie FJ45, and then the other thing I did was started using color zip ties on the back end, and that's how I've been hanging these. But a color coordinated zip tie, colored electrical tape, or the good old, like a white or silver Sharpie FJ45. Because I'm in the same boat, Pete.
Like,
I turned around.
Seven of these.
At least, bro. I turned around. There is a box full of these micro remotes floating around.
You got to turn them all on at once. See what.
Bro, seriously.
A lot of AAA batteries, man.
I got like 10 RC cars in the last month. I mean, it's been crazy right now. It's hard to keep on top of them all, but we're having a blast. We're having a great time. These companies, we can only say thank you for continuing to put out a product that us grown adults love to enjoy, and share the passion with our kids. And it's perfect family fun. RC cars, it's harmless fun. We love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, FMS, and thank you everybody for joining. Look for our post next week for next Saturday night. And also check out your Rccaraction dropping very soon. Good issue. Right after the gear guide, great stuff in here. So we'll post a recap tomorrow. And like Mike always says, definitely check out the discount subscription link. I mean, nothing like getting a nice hard copy in the mail. For the discount, it's unreal. I mean, $20 for a year, I think, $25. So yeah, definitely check this out. Dropping very soon. A lot of interesting stuff in here.
2023, bro. Like, this is the year to go get your Rccaraction magazine. It's the end of the year. Start your new subscription. And like you said, the affiliate code works. It's the gift that keeps giving all year long.
Yeah. And, as far as builds go, I was just sitting here. I told you I was doing wheels and tires. You remember the old OG orange beadlocks from Treal? Remember the rings? You remember when Treal did the rings?
Yeah.
So remember these? I had one set left because I gave a set to a special someone. And I said, you know what? This is perfect for the Phoenix. So I had a brand new set of pit bulls. And for you guys that go screw by screw, use the drill, but still swapping these rings out with all these screws, man. But they look sharp, though.
They do. So nice. Lucky you.
Phoenix. Phoenix will be done once Scale Rat sends me my gift package. Hopefully next week. Thank you, Scale Rat, and then the Phoenix will be done, and then we move on. Yeah, putting a whole Knights custom package overland, man. It's gonna be sick. He's helping me out with the printing, so thank you, Scale Rat, and that's all I got, man. I'm RC'd out for the day, man. But yeah, this Smasher, man, made it happen. I was tracking this thing all day, man. I'm at a cheerleading competition. I'm hitting the tracking number. Then you're like, yo, I just got it. And I'm like, dude, mine's gonna be sitting in the rain. Guess what happened? I got home. At least the postman put a plastic bag on it. It was sitting in the rain.
But just to clarify, so people's heads are not popping off right now and exploding. Scale Rat does provide a very good service right now for Knights Customs. Knights, when James came on here, he listed another name. I know we posted it up there, McHugh or something like that. It is a service that is provided because the Knights files are protected. They're protected with copyright, and as long as you purchase the file, Scale Rat will print them for you. It is a very good arrangement. It is above par. It is perfectly legal what Scale Rat is doing for the public. It is not a black market kind of thing. You purchase the files from James, and Scale Rat will print them for you.
Well, and that's the thing. You need quality machines. If you want it to come out right, that's why I went to Scale Rat. I
Yes.
follow his work, and he does good work. And yeah, you want. I mean, everybody has 3D printers, right? Let's be honest, right? But when you start dipping into full packages from Knights Customs and bundles and grills, and you want top-notch prints, and so I know he does great work. So that's why
his
I
prints
work
are
out.
amazing.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get these prints for the Phoenix, and I just installed a light kit on the Phoenix today too. I've been RCing all day, so I'm tapped.
Well, Peter, I have printers myself. I have my own 3D printers and still use Scale Rat because you can't do what Scale Rat is doing. I mean, the amount of money that Robert's invested into his printers, the level of detail that you're getting back, but it's not just the printer, it's what he's done with his print settings and the formula, that resin formula that he concocts like a mad scientist. He's whipping up like whipping up some good batch of meth, like a pagan biker with his big toe mixing up that stuff in the bathtub. Oh wait, flashback. He's out there mixing this batch of good stuff up. That resin concoction that he comes up with, it's strong, and you get that good detail. So yeah, I would use Robert too. So if you need somebody to do your prints, make sure you hit up Robert. He'll take care of you, and he's got the bed surface. That's the other problem you run into, is placing some of these things. Where's my Bushido at? Hang on, just as an example, what people don't understand is how many hours that I've got tied up in this thing. And why isn't this thing in my Bushido yet? Mine still got held up in logistics. I did get an update from Element this week. My Bushido will be here, coming with a clear body. So I don't know what color I'm going to paint it yet. I was all stoked for a white body on my Bushido, but it turns out a clear one's coming. So it might have threw off my paint.
Yeah, but you know what? In essence, though, that's actually good, I feel.
You're right.
Now you can choose the color rather than getting white, and then you're like, you know what? I got to paint. I got to restrict the paint. Now you can make it your own right out of the gate. So the clear is not I don't think the clear is
it's not bad. I might go. I'm going to go back to the 80s and see if I can find a pink color back then. I mean, I did see a kid do the purple, and it looked great in that era, the purple and that fluorescent green with the purple. I mean, that popped. But I might go with a softer black or something. I knew a kid that had a red one. But the amount of print time that you get in this thing, bro, I'm over a week tied up, and something like this was like 3 freaking days to print the drop bed. And then the inner fenders. I mean, it's a very complex process. So yeah, thank you for mentioning Robert, and he is the one to hit up, and you get primo customer service. He is a joy to work with if you get the opportunity. So make sure you go upscale rat. So great job, Peter. What a fun freaking show. If we'll make sure we get the links up for Blake's personal page. And we're wrapping up. We'll make the announcement for December 10th. Who the guests will be. December 10th, 17th, I think. We have Trevor Rushford from RCEC penciled in right now. So, Trevor, I made it public. No backing out now, buddy. It's out there for the world to hear. 12/17, Trevor Rushford here. So we might be able to get RC Patina guy back here on 12/10. We'll have to see if things line up that way. There's so many other great guests. I don't even want to rattle them all off right now. We have them lined up for the next couple of weeks. It's good stuff.
Yeah, we're talking with RC girl. You know, there's a lot of
another
things
good
coming.
one.
Yeah, a lot of, you know, we also have Castle that we're trying to finalize, you know, so, you know, going into 2023, we got a lot of great guests lined up and, you know, a lot of knowledgeable people and, yeah, man, only good things to come. So,
Peter, you busted your ass all week long working. Go out tomorrow, bro, and try and take some time for yourself. I mean it. Decompress for a little bit, Pete. Enjoy the hobby. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your family. You earned it this week.
It's been a long time, man, since I've been on the trails. I mean, you know, the weather hasn't been cooperating, right? You only really get the weekend, right? Unless you know you can do RC for a living, and it's just been the weather. Every weekend has been raining. Today was horrible. Today was windy, cold, rained all day. Tomorrow the trails will be muddy. I would love to get some videos of the YJ out, and you know, it's we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll get some sun. You know, but if not, I got a couple things to button up. I got to catch up on projects just like you. I feel like I'm 4 trucks behind right now. You know, it's you know, somebody asked me one day. They're like, I think it was Tyrone. You know, he said, I think I told you this. He said, you know, I wish I could build trucks this slow. And you know, I'm saying in my head, I said, well, you know, besides the fact my job, besides 2 daughters, besides everything else, I get 1 day a week. And if I could squeeze away for 3 hours, you know, that's all I get. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't have as much time as I used to. So, you know, building is kind of limited. I can't build throughout the day no more. You know, unless I bring it in my truck while I'm driving on break or something, you know, putting beadlocks together in a FedEx truck, I'm sure it'll go over nice. Yeah, so do what you can, man. Do what you can.
Do what you can. Do not stress the pace that you're working at. As long as you're coming out to your workbench and you're having fun, that's the name of the game. This is supposed to be like a stress-free zone here. And if it takes you a little longer, so be it. You know, there's going to be another truck to work on tomorrow.
Well, and you get more appreciative. Like when this Phoenix build, like as I'm completing it, I'm like, wow, man, this was just a great build. I don't care how long it took. But, you know, like the video I sent you before, you know, what's behind me, I got to expand, man. I have no more space. I mean, I'm like you. I'm finding parts that I bought like 8 months ago. I'm like, holy crap, man! I didn't know I had this. I got stuff all over the place. I got foams hanging from the ceiling. I mean, it's just getting a little. You know, my wife said, "Well, why don't you sell everything?" I said, "Slow down."
Yeah. What? Watch your mouth, girl.
Yeah, it's like fighting words immediately. But yeah, it's just you know, you buy a part, you barter a part, you forget you have it, and then 7 months later, you're like, wow, I didn't know I had these shocks. Where have they been? So,
honestly, there's nothing better than building a Vanquish truck from the Phoenix to the VS410s. I mean,
Phoenix is something else, man. And it's only my second Vanquish truck. I still love my VS410 to this day. I mean, it's just the way it runs, you know, the build and, you know, the way it comes together. And it's just something else.
Nothing compares.
But I mean, the only other fun kit I compare it would be the BRX. I mean, you know, there's some great kits out there though, but you know, I just love seeing it come together. You know, great manual, great, you know, builds out there for the VS. So yeah.
Peter, can I compliment you on your hoodie?
Oh, yeah, I wore that for a reason.
I figured you did.
Yeah, it's
more to come on that.
Yeah, more to come on that.
We'll leave it like that. But
we'll leave it at the
great hoodie, buddy. Great hoodie. I'm jealous.
I wore it in support.
Where did you order that one? Where did
I forget when I think I bought this last year off their site directly. I mean, I think
Okay.
it was just like an impulse, you know. I was like, oh, I
Oh,
need
it's
these.
sexy. It's a
Yeah,
good
it's
looking
and
hoodie.
I got the matching banner behind me too. So I
I
went
think
on.
we got those from John when we were at
Yes, John.
USTE. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like we said, 2023, man, big things. But all right, that's all I got,
All
man.
right.
Go
We'll
Packers.
post up on the Rad Show link and on our regular pages a little bit more updates on the FMS Smasher. But thank you to everyone for tuning in. It's been another great night, another fun week. I'm over the moon, super excited, loving life. Thank you,
I'm gonna go
everyone.
play with my Smasher now. I think I got to squeeze some time out, do some backflips off the Christmas tree.
I got stickers to play with. These are going on my Smasher. I know it.
Nice, man.
Color me guilty. These are going on my Smasher. I know it.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do a recap post with everything we talked about, and we'll see you guys next week. Share your adventures and have fun in the hobby. Talk soon.